Okay, for this video, I wanted to cover how to complete IRS Form W-4 for 2022 for married couples with each spouse being employed, right? So our fact pattern that we're going to work through is we have a married couple filing a joint return. Each spouse is employed. They have 2 kids, and there is great disparity between the incomes of each spouse, right? And so the reason why this is relevant is because the Form W-4, although each spouse is going to complete their own and provide that to their employer, they should be completing these in unison because, again, they're filing a joint return. And so each W-4 should be completed in a certain fashion to make sure all the withholding is appropriate throughout the year. So I've got a fact pattern in front of us, and I've also got the W-4s for each spouse, which we'll walk through. But first, let's go through the example fact pattern, and then we'll jump back to the W-4s and see how we're calculating some of these numbers. So in our example, we've got John and Jane Doe. They're married and they have 2 children. Jane is a full-time accountant. John works part-time from his home office as a consultant. And Jane's full-time salary is coming in at $85,000 a year. And John earns about $9,000 a year. Okay. Now, the Form W-4 for 2022, again, each spouse is going to be completing their own, providing to their employer, but they should be completing these together. Now, when both spouses work, the recommendation is that any adjustments that's going to be made on the W-4, and we'll walk through these, the adjustments should be made for the spouse that has a higher salary. And this is because that is more appropriately going to reflect the total amount of tax that should be coming out of the paychecks and what's ultimately going to be reported on the return. So what you're going to see here is that John, when he completes his W-4, his is going to be much more simple. And then Jane is the one that's going to have to do a little more work because she is the higher earning salary between the couple. Okay, so let's go back to the W-4s. We'll start with John's. Again, so John is going to be the more simple one. So the first part is obviously very straightforward. We have John Doe. He enters his social security number, his address, and he's doing a married filing joint return, right? Now, this is where John gets, his is a little easier, and Jane does some more work. So the form asks us to complete steps 2 through 4 only if they apply to us. If not, then we skip to step 5, right? Now, the multiple jobs or spouses worksheet, what they're asking us to do here is complete this worksheet, and if you look at the instructions, it's for the higher earning spouse. So John can effectively skip this because the withholding tax computation is going to be more accurate if we complete these pieces for Jane. And the same principle applies if you're a single filer and you have multiple jobs, right? So as it states here, we're completing steps 3 through 4B, so step 3, step 4, for only one of the jobs, right? So if you're a single filer and you have multiple jobs, as it states here, your withholding will be more accurate if you complete the W-4 for the highest paying job. So the same principles apply for the married couple, in that we want to make these adjustments down here, step 3 and 4, for Jane because she's the higher earning spouse. Okay, so again, John just completes the top here, and he can skip this, even though, again, remember, he has children, right? So he can skip this because Jane's going to be the one completing step 3. She's going to claim the children on her Form W-4. And then step 4, the other adjustments piece here, extra withholding. This is going to be something Jane's doing because she has more income to withhold from. So John would just simply sign it, date it, print it out, and then send it to his employer, and then he's done. So now let's look at Jane's and see where she's got to do a little more work. So same presentation at the top here, right? Name of the taxpayer, social security number, address, and then Jane checks married filing jointly. Now this is where Jane has to do a little extra work because she is the higher earning taxpayer. She's going to be completing steps 2 through 4. So the first thing that needs to be done is complete the multiple jobs or spouse works worksheet. So if we scroll down within the W-4, they have the worksheet here in 2B, multiple jobs worksheet, right? So in line 1, it says if you have 2 jobs or you're married filing jointly and you and your spouse each have 1 job, find the amount from the appropriate table on page 4. using the higher paying job and the lower paying job columns and rows, and then find the intersection. So what Jane will do is she will scroll down to the worksheet, find the appropriate table, right? We have married filing joint up here. And so we have the top row here, lower paying job, and then the higher paying job is this column here. So she's finding the intersecting point. Now you recall, John is on $9,000 a year, so he's a lower paying job, and he's in this first column, right? 0 to 9,999. So we have 9,000 falls within here. And then we scroll down until we get 85K, which is Jane's higher earning salary. So the intersecting point is $1,020. So Jane scrolls back up, enters the 1,020, and that's the start of the worksheet. Now she can skip down to line 3 because there are no 3 jobs here. Enter the number of pay periods. You recall in the fact pattern, Jane is paid weekly. So we enter 52 and then do some simple math. Divide 1,020 divided by 52, and we have $20. So the $20 is entered up at the top here in line 4C, right? This is the amount of additional withholding that's going to come out of Jane's paycheck. So now why is that happening? Well, because John doesn't earn enough money to even hit the withholding table. So if you look at John's W-4, let's say John scrolled down to the worksheet here. Because John is within this lower paying bracket under $10,000, he actually won't have any withholding coming out of his check because he hasn't earned enough money yet. Now, the issue with that, though, is once he reports his income with his wife's income on his tax return, there will be some tax liability. So that's why on Jane's W-4, we're effectively having the withholding come out of John's paycheck. Or sorry, let me restate that. We're having John's tax liability, once it's combined with hers, come out of her paycheck. Now, technically, I mean, you could add this $20 to John's form W-4 and just have withholding come out of his pay. But as the instructions state, and what seems to work out better, is to do all of this work on the higher earning salary. So we've got Jane's W-4 here. She enters 20 as some extra withholding. Okay, so that's the first piece of the multiple jobs or spouse works worksheet. Now, step 3, they can claim the dependents. Again, and it makes more sense for Jane to be claiming the dependents because she is the higher earner. Now, obviously, these are both going to be combined on the joint return, but again, we're completing steps 3 and 4 for one W-4 only. So, step 3, we're claiming the dependents. We have 2 qualifying children, so 2 times 2,000 gives us 4. So there's going to be that 4,000 amount there. And then you are eligible to report other income if you want. This would be other investment income, let's say, or if you have a rental property. In this case, they don't have anything like that. And then in line 4B, additional deductions. We did complete the worksheet for her. Down here in the deductions worksheet, they are going to be just claiming the standard deduction. So the standard for a married filing joint couple is $25,900, and they don't have any other itemized deductions that they're going to be claiming. So the standard is sufficient in this case, and so they're eligible to leave just line 4B blank. Okay, so that covers this tutorial for how to complete W-4s for a joint filing couple. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment below, and I look forward to seeing you again on the next video. Thank you.